Urick Duggins, and I'm an elder law attorney at Parmenter O'Toole. And the topic of today's segment is going to be veterans benefits. And we're not going to talk about all veterans benefits, but specifically aid and attendance, which is a pension benefit that is available for people who are over the age of 65 and either a veteran or a surviving spouse of a veteran. We have created a pamphlet that explains the requirements of to receive aid and attendance, and I'm going to go through the 4 different requirements that there are and explain them to you in this segment. However, if you want to go to our website, you can print out this pamphlet so that you have this information in writing as well. So there are 4 different requirements that you have to satisfy in order to receive the aid and attendance benefit. And before we go into those requirements, I should probably tell you what the benefit is, because it is a significant benefit. It's a monthly payment that is made to you, and if you are a veteran, you can receive up to $1,703 a month. If you are a surviving spouse of a veteran, you can receive up to $1,094 a month. And if you are a veteran and a spouse or a dependent, you can receive $2,019 a month. And if you're a married couple who are both veterans, you can receive up to $2,540 a month. So it's a significant pension benefit, and oftentimes this is the difference as to whether or not someone can afford assisted living or in-home care versus having to go to a nursing home and become Medicaid eligible. These monthly amounts open up lots of different options that, together with your Social Security and pension, may make assisted living a real viable option. So now let's talk about the 4 different requirements that you have to satisfy in order to receive the aid and attendance benefit. The first is a service requirement, and the veteran must have served 1 day during wartime. They have to have been in active duty. And wartime, there are some specific dates that constitute what wartime is, and we have those dates laid out for you in this pamphlet that's on our website, and you can download it as a PDF, and we also have the information just in text form on our website. So you can check those dates to see if you qualify. You also have to have been honorably discharged, and they do require us to submit with the aid and attendance application a DD-214. If you're a World War II vet, I don't think it's called a DD-214, but it's a similar honorable discharge paper, and we have to submit that together with the application for aid and attendance. So that's the first requirement, the service requirement. The second requirement for aid and attendance is that you have to prove to the VA that you need the aid and attendance of someone else for your daily living activities. And those activities include things like eating, toileting, bathing. There's a number of different things that would qualify. Those are a few different examples. And they don't take your word for it when you file the application. You actually have to submit a physician statement showing that you do need this aid and attendance of someone else. And you have to be over the age of 65 as well. If you are blind and over the age of 65, then you are automatically satisfying the aid and attendance requirement. If you're working with an in-home care provider company, they will have a care contract that you have completed with them that we can submit. But many times people aren't working with a company, perhaps a friend or a relative is helping with the in-home care, and that's fine. We just have to prepare a care contract evidencing that there is this in-home care and the amount that is being paid for these services. The third requirement that you have to satisfy in order to receive the aid and attendance benefit is that your monthly medical expenses must exceed your monthly income. And that sounds like that's hard to do, but if you're in assisted living, it's actually pretty easy to do. Most assisted living facilities cost anywhere between, on the low end, $1,700, and now I'm seeing them as high as about $6,500 a month, which is actually just about what it costs for skilled nursing care. And so if you're in a facility, an assisted living facility, it will be pretty easy for you to meet the requirement that your monthly medical expenses exceed your monthly income. However, if you're receiving in-home care, sometimes you might not quite be to that level. You have to have a lot of in-home care in order for your medical expenses to exceed your monthly income. Examples of monthly medical expenses are obviously, if you're receiving the in-home care, it's the amount that you pay per month for the in-home care. If you're in assisted living, it's the amount that you pay per month for the assisted living cost, and they will include the whole assisted living cost. If you're in independent living, they do not count the entire independent living amount as a monthly medical expense. They only count that portion of the expense that actually is for your medical expenses. Other examples of medical expenses include your premiums for your supplemental health insurance, your Medicare Part B premium. Unfortunately, prescriptions do not count what you pay for your co-pays or for your actual payment for your prescriptions. The VA doesn't permit those as monthly medical expenses. But if you have a prescription drug plan, they will count the premium that you have to pay for that as part of your monthly medical expenses. So those are examples. Others would include perhaps if you have oxygen that you have every month, or if you have a lifeline. Things like that are other examples that would be included when looking at what your monthly medical expenses are. The fourth requirement that you need to satisfy to receive the aid and attendance benefit is that you have to have a certain asset level. And for a single person, they would like you to have less than $40,000 of assets. And for a married couple, they would like you to have less than $80,000 in assets. And it's not a bright line like it is when we talk about Medicaid planning. There are some subjective elements that the VA will look at when you submit the application. So when we submit our applications here, we prefer to have not $40,000 exactly or $80,000 exactly. We like to have less. I prefer somewhere between 30 and 35 for a single person, and between 70 and 75 for a married couple. And in addition to that amount, they allow you to have your house and your vehicle. So they don't count the house and the vehicle when totaling up your assets. If you're in a situation where you have assets that are in excess of these numbers, it's okay. We can help you with those excess assets. We can create a special trust. It's an irrevocable trust, which means it cannot be changed. And you transfer the excess assets to that trust. You would not be the trustee of that trust. You would have to have someone else other than yourself act as the trustee. Most of the time, it's one or more of your children. And you are actually not the beneficiary of that trust either. Again, most of the time, it's one or more of your children. And so we put the excess assets into that trust in order to reduce your estate so that when you file the application, you meet the requirement. If you need excess funds after you file the application, that's okay. You can receive a distribution from that trust. It's just that your children have to distribute it to themselves first, and then they turn around and they distribute it to you to be used for your medical expenses. You have to be very careful when you create these types of trusts and you make these transfers, because you may at some point in the future need Medicaid planning, and the rules for Medicaid are quite different than the rules for aid and attendance. And if we need to apply for Medicaid benefits, we will have to return the assets to you so that you can then apply for the Medicaid benefits. Medicaid will consider the transfer of these assets to the trust as a divestment. And if you have a divestment within a 5-year period prior to applying for Medicaid, you have to do what's called cure the divestment, which is essentially returning you to the way that you were before you made the transfer. So we have a provision in the trust that allows the trust to be terminated at any time at the discretion of the trustee, and if it's terminated during your lifetime, then the assets must be returned to you. And that's how then we proceed with Medicaid planning if it's necessary. But you can see that this is a complex area and something that you need to really think through before you start making transfers. You need to understand what the consequences of all of that is, and we certainly help you through that process. We also help you obtain the tax identification number for this irrevocable trust, which will be necessary. You'll also have to file a tax return for the trust in the event that the trust has in excess of $650 in annual income. We will also help you with the transfer of the assets to the trust. Sometimes you might have annuities that will need to be reviewed. There are other assets that need to be transferred, and we will help you through that process. We generally have you sign a release that allows us to talk to the financial institution so that we can obtain the forms that are necessary in order for transfer of ownership or transfer of the account to the trust. So those are the 4 requirements that you need in order to receive the aid and attendance. And just to review, the first is that you need to have served, the veteran needs to have served during wartime. And the second is that you need to require the aid and attendance of someone else for your daily living activities. The third is that your monthly expenses have to exceed your monthly income. And the fourth is that your assets for a single person have to be below $40,000, and for a married couple have to be below $80,000. So a little bit about filing the actual VA application. When you submit the application, the benefits are actually paid retroactive to the month following the month in which you submit the application. So for example, if you file in March, then the benefits are payable retroactive to the month of April. I tell people to expect on average anywhere from 3 to 6 months for the application to be processed. It may take as long as 8 months. We've been fortunate. There's a new form called an easy form that we've been filing, and it has taken as quick as a couple of weeks, but I don't think you should count on that. I think on average anywhere right around 6 months is about average. In the event that it takes longer than a month to receive the benefits, then you will receive a lump sum payment from the month following the month in which you file until the month that you are approved. The other benefits are going to start coming monthly, and they'll be direct deposited into your checking account. When you file the application, you have to submit a canceled check that gives the routing information and your checking account information so that the benefits can be direct deposited into your checking account. I am a VA accredited attorney, and we do not charge to do the VA applications. However, we do not do them unless we are doing ancillary services, and we do charge for the ancillary services. If you do not need any ancillary services, and examples of those would be an estate plan, or if you needed a care contract that we discussed earlier, or one of the irrevocable trusts because you have assets in excess of the amounts allowed. Those are all examples of ancillary services. But if you don't have any of those needs, then we're happy to help you get to the right person at the VA who can help you complete those forms for you at no charge. A lot of people are concerned about how much attorney fees are, and just so you know, I like to work on a fixed fee basis, so I tell you how much it will be for any type of ancillary services that we would be providing for you. And if you come in and we review your situation, I will tell you what that charge will be. In the event that you choose not to move forward for any reason, then we don't charge you for that consultation. So there's no risk for you to come in and have us take a look at your situation and give you our thoughts and recommendations as to whether or not you would qualify for the VA aid and attendance and whether or not our ancillary services will work for you. So if you have any questions, feel free to give me a call and schedule an appointment. My number is 231-722-5415. That's a direct line. Otherwise, you can contact our elder law paralegal, Denise Amadon, and her direct line is 231-722-5438. And we appreciate you watching this segment. Thank you.